Okay, real talk. No, I'm gonna take one of these out so I can still hear my surroundings. Because I'm not trying to talk shit where kids can hear me. I'm really not trying to talk shit at all. Actually. Ooh. Okay, so I'm really not trying to talk shit at all. It just hit me though, it just hit me why, like, now of all times, Steven and I finally butt heads and had such a hard time where it needed to be completely called off. Because we've always been able to work through it up until this point. It's gonna be hard for me to explain this without sounding super judgmental and rude, because I'm not trying to diss him or put him down. And I'm also not saying it judgmentally, so don't get confused. I'm not just trying to, like, talk shit about my ex. But, that said, this is the first point in time in our whole relationship that there's been major growth on my end to where certain ways I always needed him or sought his guidance, I haven't needed that anymore because I've been affirmed in myself and had kind of gained my own sense of self and identity and just grounding in general. So in a way, it's like this situation where there's a certain threshold that he, you know, of emotional intelligence. Well, let's just blanket statement. We'll call it of emotional intelligence. There's a certain threshold that that people are comfortable with when it comes to someone they keep in close proximity to. Typically, for people who are, I'm trying to not, like, overgeneralize. I wasn't going to be like, typically men. I wanted to say that, but typically people who are less emotionally intelligent, or they're capped at a certain point, they don't respond well to being challenged in that way. Or if they respond decently to it, they tolerate it only for as long as they can, and then there's a point, for as long as they can, and then there's a point where the insecurity, they can't handle that anymore, and they need to cut you off, you know, and kind of flip it to preserve their own sense of self. When I explain that, it sounds really bad, like it's like I'm talking about a fucking loser, and I'm not, because I understand that people are at different points in their journeys, whether it aligns with my journey or not, and at different points in time, and I see him beyond the stereotypical. I mean, dude, he's a fucking felon, and I've stayed with him for years upon years when he was in prison. Like, shit like that doesn't bother me. Maybe that's part of my problem, but, you know, different day for that conversation. But I just realized that this is, so in our relationship prior, anytime he has had a low point, you know, misery loves company, I've always already been lower, or I've already been at a low point in that same point in time. And so, you know, he falls in the ditch, I'm already in the ditch. Oh, hey, how you doing? You know, misery loves company, we help each other climb out. And then it kind of is the cycle over and over. Well, this past year has been kind of the first time where he's maybe stumbled and had his personal issues that everybody has in their own ways, so don't fucking judge, whatever, it's, you know. And it's the first time that I have kind of been in a place myself to really hold it down and not be dictated by someone else's version of what that looks like, or not, you know, stifled myself to fit in certain spaces. I've done enough healing within myself as an identity, as a whole, as a person, to just be okay and comfortable with being, whether that is through a tough time or a great time. Just being through it. Not getting through it, being through it. And in the past year, when he has had his hard times, this has been the first where he hasn't already been met with misery. He's been met with a challenging emotional perspective, or a challenging perspective, a perspective that challenges his emotional intelligence. And I'm not saying it to put him down or to say that he's emotionally intelligent, because he's not. Dude's obviously not. We've made it this far. There's a lot of intricacy and amazingness in him. But at this point in time, I reached that threshold of what he's able to comfortably navigate in his space without his sense of self being too challenged. I'm trying to choose my words carefully so it doesn't sound condescending, because I don't mean it that way. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to say like, oh, I've surpassed him, I'm so much better. No. I'm talking about in this specific instance, in this certain way that obviously I can't even put on words, because no one who has been around us would know or understand. In this certain aspect of our lives that I know is the piece that kind of gets in the way of us really jiving. It's this. And I don't blame him for it, because I understand. I wish that, you know, like, I don't know. I think the part that is where it gets detrimental to me is that I tend to give too much grace to people, and like give them too many benefits of the doubt. But this is also at a point where it's like probably good for me to just say we're completely done. We're completely done. Otherwise, I give too much benefit of the doubt, where I could be like, okay, well, this is just temporary, and like he just needs a space, but we'll regroup. Obviously, that revolving door is not healthy for anybody, and that can be my bad, is why like I will ride things out in negative situations for too long, because I see people's potential, and I try to be like, okay, but I know they're going through this, this, and this, and like I understand that, and how would I feel if I were in that situation? Like I'd probably be a little unhinged too, and like have a harder time, and blah blah. And I can see where he feels like I'm the problem with this, because obviously this is linked to this in his life, and it's triggering this part of his trauma, and it's like shit that I should not be overanalyzing, whether I'm correct or not, because I know I fucking am. That's not on me to analyze for, like I have to have my own boundaries as a person to like see something. I can see something for what it is, and I can have empathy, and I can be like spot on with his potential and who he is as a person, and knowing it's not intentional, and knowing his heart and seeing his soul and loving it anyways. But I can do it in a way that still protects my energy as a person, and not, keeping me in that misery loves company space. When, to be honest, it feels kind of wrong to not be in it, because that's all I've known. You know what I mean? I feel like I am just talking in random tangents and not really completing my thoughts, so I'm gonna go. But that was just a thought that I had, and I'm sorry if I didn't finish the thought. That was a lot. That thought was a lot. It was a lot, I thought. Fuck. Turn into Dr. fucking Seuss. Okay, anyways, this is my boy Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. And he's just dunking on that Satan, you know? He's just dunking on them hoes, so that's my inspiration for the day, 10-10. That's not the date, that's just a number that came to my head as I was talking, so. I hate the endings of these, because I get super, like, I don't know how to end it, it's awkward as fuck. It's awkward as fuck. Anyways, yeah. None of what I said is to put anybody down. It's only to, like, kind of relay my perspective on things that I notice with my pattern recognition that no one ever lets me talk about. So I'm gonna just start word vomiting that into the camera, because previously when I did that with my other actual real traumas, it helped me heal. So maybe this will help me feel heard. And maybe someone will watch it and be like, oh my gosh, I totally know what you mean. And if that's the case, let me know. Because just like Misery Loves Company, what's the opposite of misery in this context? I don't want to say wokeness, I don't like that. Intuition loves company, in a way. It's not quite what I'm thinking or looking for. Magic. Cosmic. Energy loves company. Energy loves company. Misery loves company. Energy loves company. And I need some company that matches my energy. If you know, you know. So I feel like numbers are coming in like the fucking Powerball. And I'm just gonna rattle them off like an idiot. 67, 89, 1153, 413, 818, 208, 589, 328, 845, 628, and 500. 404 as well. And also 1215 and 419. Wow, I need to stop. Anyways, energy loves company, so please don't make me feel like the idiot loser I am, because I know, but also we deserve love too, so be my company, okay? Just whatever, bye.